Start off Raw with a contract signing for the WWE Championship match at the Royal Rumble. Got Randy and Rock on two separate sides of the ring. They have their own tables. I say, now, since you two have been so bloodthirsty for each other that you scared off all the refs by beating them all down, we need someone to step up to the plate. A special guest ref will be implemented in this match. Whatever, Randy says, just give me that. Randy signs the paper without reading it. Well then, I say, do you want to be a macho man like him, or do you want to read it beforehand to see who the ref is going to be? Rock just rips it out of my hand and signs. Well, I'm not gonna lie. Finding someone who could call this match down the middle was hard, but I believe I found. You two know him very well. Randy and Rock both look confused when we hear his theme song play. Ooh, so Jay comes down, massive reaction. Randy starts absolutely losing it, just yelling at me, getting in my face. Rock starts laughing. Jay walks in there, signs the contract. He has a little stare down with The Rock, and then a massive stare down with Randy. Randy leaves the ring, storming toward the back. Rock gives Jay like some finger guns, and then he walks to the back, very confident. Whew, all right, Finn wins law, I guess. Banger after banger.
After banger after banger.
All right, we got backstage. Chase U celebrating with Cena. Andre Chase says, "See, I told you that you could do it. And that's with only 1 week of Chase U. The Rumble is coming up. With one more week of work, I'm sure you will win the whole thing." All right, I'll admit, getting the win over Rock felt pretty good. And you're right. This is it. This is my Rumble to win. I'm going to WrestleMania, and I will become a 17-time world champion in this company. I have a good feeling about this, guys. All right, let's get to work. All right, we have this match. Stone Cold is just taking care of business when KO tags himself in. Stone Cold gets confused. KO gets in there. Stone Cold starts to argue with him as KO is fighting. So he keeps looking back at Stone Cold. This eventually leads to Stone Cold tagging himself in. KO then argues with Stone Cold as he's on the apron, which causes Austin to turn his attention to KO. While distracted, Montez rolls up Austin for the victory. KO just shakes his head and walks off. Alright, backstage segment. We got Ludwig Kaiser and Vinci. They go up to Gunther. Ludwig says, "Well, how are we going to take out Alistair?" "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know? You're accepting his challenge at the Rumble, aren't you?" Gunther's quiet for a while before answering back, "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know? This man has made a mockery of us for the past month, and you're just gonna bow down to him? You are a future world champion, the ring general. Stop this pity party and act like a man." Ludwig storms off and Vinci follows him. I walk in and I'm like, "Yo, I gotta get my final Rumble matches set by tonight. So what's it gonna be? You accepting his challenge or not?" Gunther lets out a large sigh and says, "Yes." All right. Now Austin Theory comes out to the ring, calls out Waller. Waller, what the hell, man? What happened? I just got you back, and now you want to turn on me? Nah, I can't let this happen. Sometimes people do things they regret. So please, come on out here. We can talk this out. I know it. Waller comes out. You don't get it, do you? We can't fix this. We're done. I get hurt, you replace me, and when I come back, we do nothing but lose. I'm done. I'm done being a loser. From now on, I'm on my own path towards singles gold. You can play with your little judgment day and act like you have a place you belong to. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to the Rumble and I'm winning the entire thing. I'm going to headline WrestleMania and you won't even be on the card. So good luck being a nobody, you idiot. Waller leaves and Theory says, you're going to win the Rumble. That's going to be pretty hard considering that I'm going to be in it too. And Waller, I got a whole team behind me. This brings out the rest of Judgment Day. Waller just backs off and then walks through the crowd. All right. Hey, I do have a woman segment. There you go. It happens after this match, which Zelina and Michin win. All right. Um, and then
There's nothing for the match.
no, they win. But
Okay.
afterwards, Raquel and Liv come out. Raquel has a mic. She says, "Really? You're going to take on another match at the Rumble? Do you think that little of me as an opponent? This is going to make my victory all the sweeter." Selena replies with, "The only victory you're going to have is convincing yourself that second place still counts." Raquel just tosses the mic and starts heading to the ring, but the refs are able to stop anything from happening. Alright, there you go, women's segment. And now,
Let's go.
holy shit, they haven't been on TV in forever. Undisputed Era locker room. Adam
Let's
Cole
go.
starts by saying, "Alright, we ready? The big day is almost here. One of us is going to win the men's rumble. Roxanne is going to win the women's rumble. Finn just retained his championship. Nakamura is about to get another huge win and put down Dean. It's going to be a big week for the Undisputed Era." Speaking of Rumble, you guys get your numbers yet? Roxanne says, "Yeah, but I don't like my odds." Finn chimes in with, "Wait, what is it? Let us see." Roxanne shows them, and they all let out an oof. Well, there's always next year. Wait, where's JD? Mello, go look for him. Mello leaves, but doesn't go too far as we see Kevin Owens attacking him. Mello rushes KO and yells for the rest of the Undisputed Era to come in. KO runs away after his work is done. JD is just bleeding on the floor as Mello tries to console him, comfort him, whatever. All right. Dean continues his losing ways as Nakamura is able to get a victory to bolster his record. There you go. All right.
Wait, who won?
Nakamura.
Okay.
Okay. Jay is in catering, eating by himself when The Rock sits next to him. "Hey, man. So, let's cut the shit. You know, and I know, that Randy is a threat to all of our family. With you being the guest ref, I'm sure you're gonna make the right call and make sure that I win that thing. For the betterment of the family." After thinking for a while, Jay finally says, "Did you really think that I was gonna call this down the middle? You know what that man has done to my dad, my brothers, to me. Nah, he ain't walking out of the Rumble the champion. That's what I like to hear. Rock pats his back and continues. You know, it's not too late to rejoin us. Jay watches as Rock leaves when suddenly he gets a phone call. His eyes light up and he answers, Oos? What's up? I haven't heard from you in forever. I'm gonna try to do the stupid phone sound effect when someone's on the other on the other line of the phone. Uh huh. Okay. What? Are you serious? You saw what he did to. Don't throw that back in my face. Yeah, I remember. I'm with you forever. Look, fine, I'll do it. But you owe me big time. See you. He hangs up, walks out of frame as KO and Stone Cold walk into it. What the hell was that? First you cost us the tag match, and now you're attacking JD? What happened to running decisions by me? Ha! I did not cost you that match. Look, we're out of the tag picture now. So, I made an opportunity for myself. There's an empty spot in the Rumble now. You make yourself a spot too. KO walks away. Stone Cold just stares off in bewilderment. Alright, main event. Rhea, Bianca, and Roxanne are not a well-oiled unit at all. They constantly bicker between themselves. The Bloodline, on the other hand, a pretty well-oiled machine. And given that they also have Mercedes on the outside, giving them the numbers advantage, it's pretty hard to beat them. Final sequence sees Bianca go for a KOD on Naomi. Tamina rushes in to stop her. Roxanne springboards on top of Tamina, taking her out. Naya then rushes, causing Rhea to rush in and take her out. The ref is distracted with all the chaos. Mercedes pulls Naomi off Bianca, then hits Bankrupt on Bianca. Naomi then pins Bianca for the win. Bloodline win low. With the match lost, the beatdown continues on Rhea and Bianca. Roxanne thinks about helping them for a second. She looks at the title though, and then just walks away. The Bloodline hit their finishers on Bianca and Rhea as Naomi then holds the title high.
The Rebel Society open the show and speak about some matches tonight. They speak about Cora versus Paige up next, and they speak about the main event. Punk says he was informed by Paul Heyman earlier today that he would be participating in the gauntlet match for the World Heavyweight title. Punk says he hopes that Seth and him find themselves in the ring against each other so that he can see Seth's face up close and personal when he pins him to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. Before we get to Cora's match, I do have one more thing to do. I plan on winning the World Heavyweight title tonight, but there's nothing saying I can't be a double champ, so I am drawing my number for the Royal Rumble. Punk heads over to the commentary and draws a number from the rolly bin thing. He laughs and shows his number to the camera, and it says number 21, one after Seth Rollins. We then move into the opening match, Cora versus Paige. Cora starts this match feeling very arrogant after knowing she has already beaten Paige before. Paige, though, has a whole different motive and starts the match just by rushing Cora. Cora tries to flee into the ropes, but with it being no disqualification, it doesn't matter. Paige chases Cora outside of the ring, and Cora jumps into the crowd to run away from Paige. Cora has a moment as Paige is getting over the barricade and she capitalizes on it. She just chucks a chair at Paige once she gets over, and knocks Paige down to the ground. From there, Cora holds the advantage in the match. She is constantly just swinging away at Paige with the chair, and eventually Cora throws Paige back into the ring. With the chair basically being demolished at this point, she drops it and picks up her briefcase at ringside and brings it into the ring. As Cora enters the ring, Paige is quick on the attack. She knocks the briefcase out of Cora's hand and knocks Cora down to the mat. Paige then grabs the briefcase herself and awaits Cora to get back to her feet. Once Cora stands up, Paige charges in to hit her with the briefcase, but Cora ducks and Paige takes out the referee instead. Paige, in shock, drops the briefcase and gets turned around by Cora. Cora then hits Paige with Jaded and covers her. She covers her for a solid 7 seconds before another referee charges into the ring and starts to count. 1, 2, Paige barely gets her shoulder up. Cora is furious as she felt like she should have won. She kicks the down referee for not being there to count in the first place. Then she starts yelling at the other referee for not being there quick enough. Cora spends so much time yelling at the referee that Paige has recovered and turns Cora around and hits her with a rampage on top of the briefcase. Paige then covers Cora. 1, 2, 3. Paige picks up the win.
Okay, okay.
We then head backstage. Seth Rollins is in Paul Heyman's office complaining about CM Punk being in the main event tonight. Seth says he is blatantly showing favoritism by giving Punk a shot at the world title tonight. Paul then explains that the reason that he put Punk in the is that the reason he put Punk in the match is because Seth cost him a title a few weeks ago at Night of Champions. So if there's anyone to be mad at, it is yourself. Seth then says, "It's my fault he is in this match, huh? So you probably are also in the same boat as him, as it is my fault that I missed 6 months of my career. Listen, Paul, if and or when me and Punk are in that ring tonight, don't hate me for taking your best friend out of action permanently." We then cut over to Charlotte celebrating with Paige with her win over Cora Jade. Paige says it felt good to finally get a win over her and hopefully to humble her a bit. Paige then asks where Becky is. Charlotte says that Becky and her are both focused on their match of the Royal Rumble and not to think too deeply into it. Paige says, "Well, anyways, let's find a place to celebrate this win tonight, and then on Sunday we can celebrate you winning the Women's Championship." We got to the ring. Cody Rhodes and Ricochet taking on Awesome Truth. Cody and Ricochet win.
Damn.
Um, Cody and Ricochet are walking into the back after the win, but they get confronted by the Final Testament. Cross tells them congrats on the win and how he looks forward to their match at the Royal Rumble for the tag championships. Cody tells Cross that he doesn't need his congrats and that they are focused on winning those tag titles and already have put the Final Testament behind them. Cross says you don't just simply put the Final Testament behind you, as they have been watching over them this whole time. But he will give Cody some closure as he gives his word that none of them will interfere in their match at the Royal Rumble. Cody says he hopes Cross is a man of his word because he isn't afraid of coming back to put him in his place. Cross gets up and close with gets Cross gets up close and says he would love to see Cody try, and then the group leaves. I'm just tripping all over my words tonight. It's not even hard.
Bro is like me for real.
We then cut to a different part of the backstage and we see Becky and Bayley speaking about Charlotte and Paige. Bayley tells Becky that she told her so. Last week you saw what Charlotte is. She hasn't changed in any of these years that we have known her. She wants one thing and one thing only, and that's to be at the top with the championship around her waist. Becky says she still feels like there was some good motive in her for helping them against Damage Control, and it wasn't just so she could get a shot at her title. Bayley says Becky needs to forget any past friendship they may have had. Becky needs to focus on the Rumble and beating Charlotte. She desperately needs to be humbled, and Becky needs to be the one who does it. Becky says she appreciates Bayley always being in her corner. She asks Bayley about her injury. Bayley says she won't be able to compete in the Rumble this year, but after the Rumble she should be able to get back into the ring. Becky says she looks forward to possibly getting back into the ring with Bayley in the future. Bayley says likewise. Yeah. Then we see LA Knight being interviewed about losing his title, then his loss to Ilya last week. He says it has him a bit down, but nothing he can't overcome. He knows what he wants, and that's to get the US title back around his shoulder. And the only way to do that is to go out there and prove that he deserves a shot. So even though he doesn't have a title, he's calling out anyone in the locker room for a match. Whoever wants it, meet him in the ring. So LA Knight is awaiting a challenger in the ring. Out comes Angel Garza. LA Knight wins. Lol.
Yeah.
Yeah. We then go backstage. Pure Fusion Collective are speaking about their match tonight. Sonya says tonight, after they get the win over Damage Control, they are going to go into the Rumble and win those women's tag titles, because they are the best. Because they are the best women's faction in all of WWE, and it's about time everyone starts recognizing that. Sonya says tonight, I want to see the old Shayna Baszler, the one who had no remorse for anyone, the one who decimated anyone who stood in their path. And Zoe, I need you to make sure none of the other members of Damage Control cost us our win. Tonight, we put everyone on notice not to mess with us. We then cut over to Damage Control locker room, speaking about the upcoming match. They are deciding who to put out there tonight, and Dakota says she knows Shayna better than anyone else and wants to be out there. The rest of them agree that Io should be the other person out there to represent them. Dakota says they may talk a big game, but have nothing to back. Talking about Pure Fusion Collective, they may talk a big game, but have nothing to back it up. They are the one. Damage Control are the ones who held those tag belts. They have the experience and the knowledge of what it takes to be champion, and after tonight, they are one step closer to that being the reality again. We then move on to Dakota and Io versus Shayna and Sonya. Towards the end of the match, we see Dakota get Shayna set up in the ropes for a curb stomp. As she goes to hit it, Zoe gets up on the apron and yells at Dakota. Io then grabs Zoe's feet from the outside and drags her down to the floor with her. And Io and Zoe, the feet from the outside, and Io throws Zoe into the barricade. Sonya then comes around and gets into Io's face, and they start brawling. Asuka and Kairi move over to try to intervene without causing a DQ. All of this has Dakota distracted, and Shayna capitalizes on it and locks in the Ace of Spades, her sleeper hold. Dakota struggles for a bit, but no one sees this as they are all dealing with someone else on the outside. Dakota eventually passes out and the bell sounds. Damage Control look back towards the ring to see Shayna standing tall with her hands raised. Pure Fusion Collective pick up the win. And then
I'm
go on to take on Tamina and Nia at the Rumble.
gonna write that down real quick. Well, you know which ones, like which two specifically, or
Uh,
can I pick?
uh, jeez. Oh, we'll figure that out in a second.
All right.
Um, we go backstage. Sammy is speaking with Bronson Reed about the gauntlet match up next. He questions how he is supposed to come out of this match with this title. He has to deal with people like CM Punk and Seth Rollins, and also how dare Paul go back on his own word and put Drew McIntyre in this match. He promised him that he wouldn't have to deal with Drew anymore, but now all of a sudden he has become a problem again. Bronson puts his hand on Sammy's shoulder and says not to worry about it, as he has a plan. We move on to the gauntlet match. The first participant in the gauntlet is Seth Rollins. Sammy and Seth have quite a back and forth. Sammy is giving everything he has to beat Seth, but Seth is fighting with a renewed energy. We see Seth try on multiple occasions to hit the curb stomp, but Sammy is constantly avoiding it. We see later on Seth once again try to set Sammy up for the curb stomp, but this time when he charges in, Sammy just chop blocks Seth and takes out his bad knee. Sammy is now focused with everything he has on Seth's bad knee and takes him to the outside. He throws him into the steps, into the barricade, and even over the barricade. Sammy gets back into the ring as the ref is on a count of 8 at this point. Seth tries desperately to get back into the ring, but he cannot beat the count. So Seth loses via countout. Sammy back in the ring when out comes CM Punk as the second contestant. Before Seth and Punk can before Sammy and Punk can touch, Seth gets back into the ring and starts arguing with CM Punk. Sammy moves in, but Seth just hits him with an elbow, causing Punk to get DQ'd from the match. Punk is furious and Seth and him brawl to the back. Sammy is elated as he gets this moment to relax, but that elation quickly turns to horror as he hears Braun Strowman's music hits. Braun makes a beeline to the ring and Sammy is basically begging for mercy. Braun just pulls Sammy up by his beard and throws him across the ring. Sammy rolls out to take a breather, but Braun just rolls out on the other side and runs around the ring to run over Sammy. Sammy, though, moves out at the last minute and Braun goes charging through the steel steps. Sammy once again rolls back in looking for another countout, but unfortunately for him, Braun makes his way back into the ring. Sammy tries to gain the advantage by attacking first, but he doesn't even seem to faze Braun. Braun just starts throwing punches and clubbing him with forearms. He eventually throws Sammy into the corner. He moves back and charges in to hit Sammy with a splash, but somehow Sammy catches him and nails him with an imploder suplex into the corner. Sammy backs up and nails Braun with a haluva kick, but knows that that one isn't going to be enough and backs up and hits another. Braun still hasn't collapsed, so Sammy backs up again and nails Braun with a third straight haluva kick. Braun collapses and Sammy just falls on him to get the 1, 2, 3. Sammy is just exhausted laying in the ring when he hears Drew McIntyre's music hit. Sammy is barely bringing himself to his feet as he just leans in the corner awaiting Drew McIntyre, but Drew doesn't appear. After a minute of waiting, we then see a live shot of the back where Bronson Reed has taken out Drew McIntyre. Sammy just laughs to himself and then tells the referee to start counting. As Drew is unable to make it to the ring, the ref counts out Drew McIntyre, and Sami Zayn retains his World Heavyweight title.
Super Sammy over Sammy Hogan over here.
Yes, as he wins by countout, DQ, pinfall, and countouts.
Yo.
He pinned one person in the match.